Hi everyone, my name is Dharshna and I'm a product manager in Salesforce. As of now, I'm taking care of segmentation and activation piece within Data Cloud. And my AI journey so far has actually been a data plus AI journey, and it has been quite exciting and sometimes daunting at the same time. Really looking forward to speaking to rest of you.
Hi everyone, this is Jothi, and I have about 20 years experience in the industry, mostly into B2B SaaS. And currently, I lead the product management in Icon PLC, which is a clinical research organization. My AA journey started with just curiosity of when GPT released in 2018. Back then, I was in a BPM company. And then that led me to work in Core AI, which was into conversational AI space. And I was on time to ride the wave of ChatGPT. And looking forward to talk to you all.
Hi, I'm Seema. I'm the general manager of commercial data science team in Shell. In my role, I drive better decision making in the commercial space using data science and AI. My journey started about 25 years ago, where it started more with what was called data mining at that in that particular time, and then since last 8 years, it pivoted back into AI. Initially, it was all these cutting edge AI. In last few years, it's been more on data science and operationalizing data science in organizations.
Awesome, that's wonderful. It's great to be in company of such awesome women. I am Amruta Moktali. I'm currently the Chief Product Officer of a startup called Skyflow. I've had the fortune of working in great companies in AI products, started my journey actually as one of the first product people on Bing. I know I'm aging myself now, but that's kind of where it started. It was pretty exciting. Then went on to be part of a startup, working on social data when Twitter just started, and then went on to be at Salesforce, and Dharshna and myself share a company together, and we probably even remotely worked together, worked on platform, data, Einstein. So data has been part of my journey, so it's awesome to see all of us having the same journey. And I actually got exposed to the OG AI that we call machine learning. And as I used to call, it's just a math equation with linear regression and stuff, ages ago. And then with compute coming and everything, we've now operationalized AI. Or so it's exciting to talk about it. And maybe I can kick us off with those introductions.
Biggest misconception you've had to overcome about working in AI, and what helped with that specific challenge?
And I was right in the space of conversational AI, and we have to pivot every day, sort of, because every day there was something new, LLMs coming in, applications coming in. So our product strategy 1 month ago was not the same, and we had to pivot. So that kept me going, the dynamic nature of the business itself.
Pretty keen in understanding how do businesses make data-driven decisions. So from simple data analysis going all the way into predictive analytics, machine learning piece of it, it just kept me going.
And data is kind of the fuel for AI, and all of us have worked in data, so have I. And then through data, you try to start to get into what do you get from data. It was analytics, then it was insights, and I know Dharshna, take me back to my Wave days when we launched Wave and built all those apps. But it's been a fantastic journey, and I think I'm loving the Gen AI world because this has just like taken giving AI in everyone's hands to a complete different level.
Welcome to the Neural Talks, your gateway to the forefront of AI innovation. I'm your host, Ranjit Malarkot, and together we'll explore the AI revolution with the brightest minds pushing boundaries and shaping the future. Through candid conversations, they share hard-won insights as we unlock the transformative power of AI. Get informed, get inspired. This is the future, and you're in the front row.
All of us probably didn't set off thinking that we would be where we are right now working on AI and things. So how about maybe we can just talk about what was our entry point? I think in the introduction we've talked about it a little bit, but I always love to think about what is that one unexpected thing that made us stay in AI. And maybe we can start with you, Dharshna.
Yeah, sure, Amrita. It's so nice to catch up with you again. It's a small world indeed. Um, So my entry point in AI was not exactly the entry point to AI. Like I said, I started my journey with data. I was part of this in my previous organization. I was part of this team called Wave Team, which was supposed to create certain BI dashboards for business users. And I basically got interested into all of that because I was pretty keen in understanding how do businesses make data driven decisions. So from simple data analysis going all the way into predictive analytics, machine learning piece of it, it just kept me going. So this question where about what is the most unexpected thing which made me stay, quite literally I think it's the pace of innovation for me. Like you said, it is a mathematical equation, that's right, but now with all the innovation that is happening, we have democratized it so much that this whole avenue of what else you can do using AI has come up, right? And that is what has kept me going into this specific domain.
Jyoti, how about you?
So likewise, my journey of AI started with product management at Co.ai, and I started working on transforming how AI can change the human interface with applications. I see that with ChatGPT, but back then we had a traditional UI interfaces, but then that was transforming. And I had the perfect balance of the empathy and user-centric design as my strength to write on that. And what unexpected happened, I think the entire world was not expecting ChatGPT. And I was right in the space of conversational AI. And we have to pivot every day, sort of, because every day there was something new, LLMs coming in, applications coming in. So our product strategy 1 month ago was not the same, and we had to pivot. So that kept me going, the dynamic nature of the business itself. And yet, that user centricity and empathy and human interfaces with application still holds true, and that kept me going.
Awesome. Seema, how about you?
I was an electronics and communication engineer. And one of my kind colleagues, he said, Seema, I think you should get into data and analytics field. And that's the space of the future. And, thank God I took the advice. And after that, like all my life, I have been in this space. But when in my role, I also mentor a lot of women who are not in AI, right? They are in finance or some of the other domains. And what I have found as, the challenge I see is women, and probably even men, they perceive AI as as a software thing. Their barrier to entry is, oh, I have to learn coding. I have to become a software person, which seems daunting for people like that. And I think with ChatGPT, and like Jothi and Dharshna said, with ChatGPT, you don't need to really code anymore in future. So that barrier should not be there for people. And I think they have to learn to perceive this as a math thing rather than as a software thing. And in my conversations with women, that's what I try and explain that, hey, why are you taking a course on Python to enter into this field? You have to learn about the math, maybe the statistical fundamentals, the mathematical fundamentals, which is much easier for women because they would have done it during their graduation.
True, it all goes back to math. For me, it's been interesting. In fact, actually, this is funny. In my grad school, one of my projects was creating an algorithm, a matching algorithm. Now I think back, I'm like, I could have started Match.com then, but I didn't. And then through my journey, in fact, my first real big AI product I built with Bing kind of happened with a little bit of luck. That exposed me, honestly, to some of the best machine learning folks that I have met in my career. And that was just so empowering, just seeing, because I was always curious about, discovery of information. We were the first people who had the Twitter fire hose. And I was fortunate enough to be part of the team that discovered who Gonim was, who started the Arab Springs through Twitter. Thread that I feel all of us have is data. And data is kind of the fuel for AI, and all of us have worked in data, so have I. And then through data, you try to start to get into what do you get from data. It was analytics, then it was insights, and I know Dharshna, take me back to my Wave days when we launched Wave and built all those apps. But it's been a fantastic journey, and I think I'm loving the Gen AI world, because this has just like taken giving AI in everyone's hands to a complete different level.
Maybe I want to ask all of you a question, right? Amrita, what you said about RS Brings, I mean, really interesting. I think that's a privilege of working with data. You're privy into so many insights that others may not have because you've seen what the data is saying about the situation. But what I would want to hear from each of you, what was the biggest misconception you've had to overcome about working in AI, and what helped with that specific challenge?
With that first. So I had my personal misconception was I need to have PhD in maths to take up anything in AI. Although I come from a technical background, initially I was a programmer in my career, and then I figured out that was not my cup of tea. I'm mostly into solving problems and then delegate the technical things to somebody else. But then when I wanted to get into AI, that was the fear also I had. I think most of the women here in the world would share, they would have the same set of fear. But what I understood was AI is about intersection of probably technology, max and statistics, and domain, especially the business and domain and data and everything. So I think we need to find the sweet spot for us, like where we actually strong at and where we can work really well. So I think I found the balance in where technology and domain and data. And then I delegate the math and logic behind that to probably a data science and research folks. So I think that's the biggest misconception. We need not dive deep into the math behind the models, but we can really focus on the real problems that we can solve.
Very true, Jothi. Dharshna, what about you?
It's very interesting, Jyoti. I had a very similar misconception. It's just that I didn't reach the PhD level. So I started my career in 2015. And so back in 2016, 2017, the biggest misconception I had was, in order to be in the AI world, I would have to become a data scientist. So I started searching for courses which would teach me how to become a data scientist. And I, in fact, did join a certification program. And in that certification program, what I realized was there were engineers available, there were BAs available, data analysts, product managers, people who were at the CXO level and who were just looking forward to start their own companies. And when I spoke to all those folks, that's when I realized that AI is not, it's entirely role agnostic. It's an application layer at the end of the day. And you don't have to fit into a role in order to leverage AI. You should know AI and you should use it in whatever capacity you can, and in whatever role you can. So that for me was a very, very big eye opener. You can just start with AI as and when you feel like doing that.
I love how you said that, Dharshna. I totally believe that. And something I try to articulate myself, but you said it a lot better.
Thank you.
Amrita, what about you?
I kind of share the sentiment of both the things that you folks shared, right? It's exactly that. Um, I think one of the things that I think about from a misconception, right, and especially when it comes to women, it's it's a little bit, we get scared. Going to be complex. AI is going to be like everyone's there, and we kind of hold ourselves back and say, "Oh my God, I will need to do all the things both of you said, right? I'll need to study, I'll need to do this, I'll need to do that." And I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that it's not that AI is complex. I think the way everyone should think about AI, and I strongly believe this, is everyone doesn't need to build that foundation model. The key thing when we think about AI is what can it unlock? What is it in your day-to-day life that AI can help you with? Similar to, like, if we are all product folks, right? How do we think of a feature? We think of a problem and how can we solve it? And we got to think of it from first principles. Think of the problem you're trying to solve and look at all the AI tools available. Darshna, you're right. It's for every role and how we think about it and how it applies to solving problems.
Said, Amrita. I will share my own, which probably similar but also slightly different because I spent almost more than 15, 16 years being the technical person on these areas, right? I was proud of the fact I was a techie, and I thought the only way to be a person in this field is to be an expert in the tech space. And my journey in Shell taught me that tech is like small part of it, which many people can solve, right? Because especially in India, so everybody is getting themselves educated on these things, and they are able to solve the technical piece. The piece that is hard is the implementation. How do you actually make that AI fit into a process? And how do you solve the human problem of how that is utilized, how it's consumed, how it solves the real problem, as Amrita was saying? How do you identify that? How do you generate value from it? That's the hard part. And that does not require data scientists. It requires people who understand the rest of the business. So that was my misconception, to think that AI is all tech. It's not tech, it is much larger piece of the ecosystem as well.
100% you have to be technical to ace this role. But what are the other non-technical skills you think any women coming into the AI role has to pick up, and how do they really develop that?
I think I'll probably build on what I was saying earlier. So what I'm seeing in my space, on my own space, is we need the skills of problem solving. We need to understand the problem in a very nuanced way, right? And it can't be, you can't put a technical lens to it. You have to empathize with what the business, what problem statement the business has, and find the exact right solution that will fit that. I think that skill is hard to acquire, but it's also not a technical skill. Yeah, but it is, you have to spend more time with your businesses, with your partners, to really get that. Second, I think, is commercial acumen. That's really important because people are struggling with the ROI of AI, right? And for you to really know where to apply AI, you have to have a commercial acumen. You have to know what problem this will solve, what value will this unlock, and then is AI the right solution for that kind of value? And third is domain. I think all of you mentioned about domain understanding of the business. I think is the third very key non-technical skill to acquire.
I think I'll add maybe one or two things on top of what you said. When I think of non-technical skills, it'll sound weird, but I really think curiosity is one of those things everyone needs to just foster. We are all curious people, but we somehow lose that sometimes because we get bogged down with what we know. Curiosity is going to help. First principle thinking is going to help. Those are not technical things. These are all non-technical things. And observe. I think it's very similar to how we all build companies and products, right? Observe what's around you, observe your customers, observe your partners, observe people around you. If you're in the consumer space, figure out what drives you. And don't try to, the biggest thing I tell people is don't try to do something someone else is doing just because they're doing it and they're successful. Find some non-technical piece or interest that is close to you, that you understand really well, and you will be able to go to the depth of it. Because here's one thing that's going to happen with AI. While it is powerful, it's also very dangerous because it'll help you create a solution very quickly. I keep telling folks, it's like, GPT came, it's like these having these huge diamonds or like diamonds there. Like, what are you going to do with it? You need a jeweler, you need someone to create a design where it'll be used, different kinds of designs. That's when the value of those diamonds go out in the world. Otherwise you're just storing it and nobody's able to utilize the value of it.
Absolutely, Amruta. Like, I definitely echo yours and Seema's thought process on this. Um, so the next obvious question that comes in is, where can I use AI, right? Or what is it that I can do with AI which will bring some value to the business, right? So what I would recommend is perhaps take a step back at what you're doing. What does your day to day life look like? And start asking questions about everything that you do. Let's say there is a very simple menial task which you are doing on a day to day basis. Is this something which could be done with AI? You will start noticing that you are finding a hell lot of areas or a hell lot of space where you can do a lot of things using AI. And if you start, just start jotting those ideas down, start picturing what the exact solution can potentially look like, what does the ROI look like, what are the exact problems you are trying to solve, what is the job to be done look like, you would see that you have a very good solution at your hand, which you have perhaps validated with certain other folks in your companies.
Great pointers, all of you. I think I second all the points that you put across. And just to add, probably this is a skill. I wouldn't say it's a skill, but how do you focus on developing yourself? So upskilling was one of the points we discussed, but networking and seeking mentors is something undervalued in the overall points. And I truly believe mentors, you don't have actually go and say I want you to be mentored, but you network with people and try to get to understand how do they focus on that particular area, or how do they approach that particular problem, and just have a casual conversation. 10 minutes in a month, it's going to give you a lot of insights and perspective of how differently you could have solved the problem, or how differently you could have looked at and the perspective of the problem. So that's very important. And non-technical skill, I wouldn't say it's again non-technical, it's also coming in parallel to both, like a lot of no code and prompt based app gen and code gen tools are right now there, and I'm sure all of us have tried. So that comes into upskilling as well. So more and more upskilling and being with the right mentors will take you places.
That's very interesting, Jyoti. And I think perhaps we can have just one last question, where what are the emerging areas where you see AI going big? And if you had to give some advice to the women who are considering AI today, what would that AI be? Perhaps I can get started with you, Amrita.
Yeah, I think I would say a couple of things, right? If you are looking at getting started with AI, first of all, don't think about it as I'm getting started with AI. All of us have worked with data, all of us have worked with something. So play around with the tools. Just like Jyoti said, I would not, I would emphasize 100%. You have to play around with the tools. Get to know the tools, get to know the technology. Actually, your best tool is AI. I have a conversation with ChatGPT. I do this, right? In an audio, like when I'm driving, ask concepts. What's a transformer? How do you do this? What's a weight? What's a bias? You hear any term, don't get shy. Read about it and get yourself educated. I mean, while we are talking about all the non-technical skills, I will emphasize that you have to know about AI. You have to know what is happening, what are the trends, become part of communities. There are a bunch of LinkedIn communities. There'll probably be meetups that are happening wherever you are. And I think that is extremely important. Get that knowledge that will help you figure out everything else when you're actually thinking of getting into AI or something. And the other thing I would say is don't think of AI as this big daunting thing. You're going to get very scared. And I have this funny thing I keep telling people, women are multitaskers from birth. And in India, there's this term called jugaad, right? We are the best at jugaad. Take AI and do jugaad and like figure out. And to do that, you need to know everything. You need to know exactly where, what is there. Like you use Versa, you use Cursor, you use Cohere, use Claude, you use ChatGPT. Take everything. It's all free. That's the best part. I think all this free stuff excites me the most, to be honest, because it's not behind, it's so accessible right now to get educated on AI. And I think everyone should use that.
I totally agree again with Amrita. I think first and foremost, you have to be a voracious consumer of AI. And like Amrita said, it's all accessible. So use AI. It's at every app that you have on your mobile has some element of AI. And take a course in prompt engineering. It's very, very cheap and easy to do. And you can just get smarter with how you prompt ChatGPT and do a lot of things, automate a lot of things that you do manually. I even have a AI agent friend on Duolingo who teaches me or who converses with me on a language to give me practice in my language learning skills. So use every form of AI that's accessible to you and that's useful to you. And second, I think is in the area of the emerging area of governance around AI, right? I feel that's one area that AI will not take over from us, because the only way to govern AI is a human. You can't put an AI to govern AI. So I think get educated on the trend in the industry, on the regulations around AI. Yeah, and and you will see that human beings have a big role to play in how AI is regulated in the implementation in your own organization, and you have a role to play in that regulation. So those are two things I would probably add.
Emerging, being in healthcare, it's very exciting here. If you see, there's a lot of personalized treatments coming in, and there are the accelerated drug delivery and drug discovery are coming. AI is doing really magic in healthcare, and I'm witnessing right here at Icon, which is very exciting. And for women coming into AI, my advice would be I second what Amrita and Seema said. Um, you know, try tools and explore, keep learning, and all that. And I would also suggest if you're really new coming into AI, probably we should start creating portfolios like the designers do. Probably we could get something like Behance for AI product folks, where we can showcase what kind of real world problems we have solved using the tools right now available. So we could easily create a working prototype and showcase for this problem. This is how I have envisioned the solution to be, and that way you can really break into AI career. Yeah.
Thanks, Jyoti. So I think we are all extremely fortunate because we are again in middle of a revolution right now. But in my opinion, I think in the near future, at least in India, I guess we would be really revolutionizing the healthcare industry. I think that's a very big space where the automation and digitization using, let's say, AI can get significantly better. Now, moving on to the advice to women considering AI, uh, don't wait. We are already in middle of the revolution. You can get started right away. You have all the tools at your disposal, right? So yeah, like go for it.
Yeah, I think the one thing I want to close out, I mean, past a comment with this. When computers started, think of that era. Everyone used to do data entry,
Mhm.
and computers came on board. Actually, there's a great movie, Hidden Figures, if you guys haven't seen. There's lots of issues it talks about, but it's very interesting because there were all these women doing math in NASA, and then the IBM computer came, and the men could not figure out how to make that work. And these women went in, they read the manual, and they were able to figure out how to do it. Because we have the patience, we have the intelligence, we know how these things apply, and we're not scared. Let's use that strength. And I'm kind of putting a pitch for women in AI because I want to see more women in AI. Like Fei Lee is one of my, ideal people who's been there, who's pioneered a lot of things.
Maybe we just wish the women watching this a happy Women's Day and a more
Yes.
in
Yeah.
AI in future.
100%. 100%.
Hope you enjoyed this episode of the Neural Talks. Hit subscribe or follow us on LinkedIn to stay informed of many more great episodes on AI coming up. We're the Neural, where humans meet AI.